You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Where do I come from?
It seems like you have a little problem understanding the English language.
The only way a guy like you gets a set of nuts is by buying them at the concession stand.
I will eat his carcass in front of his little gazelle friends.
He's like a jar of mayonnaise with eyeballs and a ketchup haircut.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Son of a bitch.
Wow, man, freaked out!
Get your fucking shit together, my God!
And I'm living now, yeah!
I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right now.
It's like the most important man in the world standing here, and you got a conversation going with each other.
I would like to just get to know you.
The great one says you can kiss his ass.
Nice to meet you. What's going on?
I wish horrible flesh-eating disease on you and your family, but not a disease where you die, a disease where you have to walk the earth mutated as some sort of piece of...
Listen to me very carefully.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Listen to me very carefully.
Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out how insane I am. Yeah.
We're not here just to take part, we're here to take over!
Yo, 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 what up, no? It's your boy, Scrappy the Belt Guy, and I'm back. A little week off, a little time to take care of some business, but I got some great news, lots of stuff to get into. Did y'all see the Being the Elite Championship? We'll talk about that. Bullying in the hobby, oh my goodness, a whole lot going on. Updates, and updates. Let's get it going. Belt collectors, unite. Well, welcome back everybody to another debacle of a webcast here at BCU, Belt Collectors Unite. I hope you guys are all having a great Sunday. It's actually pretty decent, balmy, kind of a little rainy, but I mean the temperatures were nice here in the D. I hope you guys are chillax and everything's going good in your world. Everything all on the up and up here, of course. Did some cleaning here in the studio and we moved some things around and just a lot going on, but we're going to get into a lot today. We've got, of course, like the last year or so, maybe last couple of years, we've had, I want to say, probably the last 2 years, we've had a lot of new championship belts, designs and belts for companies or new companies with new belts or redesigns or whatever. And I just feel like it's been a miss. So we got the, with a few exceptions. So the most recent one is another, I guess it's a gimmick belt for no other reason for no other phrasing available, I guess, would be the Being the Elite Championship that you might have seen on the Being the Elite YouTube or whatever. I didn't actually see it. I just saw images of it. I didn't actually see the segment or whatever, but we'll get into that and kind of like all the belt designs, what you guys think and of what we've gotten lately out of belt designs. Which one? Maybe we'll get a little list together and see which ones you guys like best and what were hits, what were misses, and we'll kind of break that down a little bit today. Also, the hobby is the hobby that it's always the hobby, right? As much as things change, they always stay the same. So we'll talk a little bit about the the bullying that goes on in the hobby. We've talked about it. We've touched on it before. We'll get into a little bit of it. We'll talk about kind of the cyberbullying thing, which is a craze now, obviously, and and we will we'll get into that. Plus, what it all feel like on the wrestling tip. A little early here this Sunday. Wasn't here last Sunday, and I will explain that as well as what's going on with the podcast going forward. But first, it's all about the update. So, J-Dub's updates for everybody who has I have not talked to, but we'll get everything kind of covered. So, let's see. SoCal Mike's got 3 belts on order. Your final belt is just got to get mounted and the backing put on, and we're going to get you weekend at the latest. So that'll be taken care of and done. Let's see. We've got Gage, I believe. We've got working on, just got your custom mix of your leather color done yesterday. So we're working on the leather, and then I had to order some special sized gemstones hop off your belt. So I know I got a little bit behind. I probably should have had yours out already, but I had a couple little things on back order. But that should be done soon, and we'll have you out here in a couple of weeks. Let's see, who else did I miss on update? Oh, Bruce, your belt is the redesign, right? You didn't catch it on the artwork and approved the artwork that wasn't exactly what you wanted when it was done. We made the adjustments, so I will have that other plates at the platers, so I should have that back, and I'll get that soon, next week, and get it painted up for you. And I'm already working on the leather, got the stencil and everything ready, so we're going to start the leather on that while we're waiting for that to show up. And then I will send you out the plate that was messed up too, so you'll get all of that, and you can do whatever you want with it. Make a clock out of it, hang it on the wall, whatever. If there's something you have in mind that I can help you with, that you want to do with it, let me know, and we'll do that. James, your that United States belt is in there being painted right now. The plates are being painted right now, and the leather stem's ready, so we'll start getting the leather cut here this weekend. Well, probably more like midweek, because once I get it all painted up and finished up, the plates looking all good, then I'll get into tooling the leather. But we'll definitely get the leather cut here in the next few days with that custom cut you wanted. So a lot of positive things moving here. I had a couple other belts. Also, the VWO belt will be guys that SoCal Mike, Miguel, I think both you guys are in on that, I believe. That will be we'll get that one rolling. That one will go really quick. I apologize for making you sit for so long, and hopefully that will be out within the next week or so too. And that brings us up really close to our Halloween deadline, where we're going to start bringing on new orders. So hang tight for that, because I'll probably have some specials out there for you. And then I have 3 belt order from Randy, I think. 1 belt's done, and the other 2 are almost there. So those will also be out and hopefully ship at that Halloween deadline time there. And then we'll be all caught up, except for, oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot. Also, Tim, if you're listening, Tim Harrell from Die Hard Wrestling. We've got your championship belt. I switched over the graphics like you asked, and we're going. The resist for the plates was cut, so I'm gonna lay that tomorrow and start peeling it, and that should be in the etching process midweek, and then hopefully have it out weekend, cleaned up, polished, and ready to start taking paint, so you can get that to you in time for November, for the first week in November. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It's a tight window for everybody, working a lot of extra hours to try to make that happen. I lost a couple days with a back injury. I sure as hell didn't want to talk about that there, but that's part of the reason why we weren't here last week. And going forward, we're going to go back to the original format of every other week with this show. I never expected the show to get any kind of really. We're just kind of putting things out there, feelers, and just doing something to do during the lockdown, and we generated enough that we started doing stuff weekly, and so it's going to change up. I'll get into that a little bit more as we go forward. Mike, thank you from Canada, making us international every time, baby. Thank you for hanging out with us. DSR2 Wednesdays, guys, you want to hang out with me and Johnny the Moose, talk mainstream sports. I was just watching some football, and then the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers just put it to the Packers, and it got out of hand. So I came on a few minutes early, and we're getting things rolling here, and I might sneak out a few minutes early and watch the Sunday night game and relax. A lot of love for the studio cat also in the text line, which I'll get into here in a second, which is kind of funny. But text line is available, guys. Social media across the board, Studio 57 Radio, Facebook, YouTube, Studio 57 on Twitter. You can you can go to Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, all them places and check us out. But Studio57Radio.com is where it's at. But also, I try to keep up with all the chat rooms, but it's hard to watch all of them, especially when we're on Twitch and stuff now, too. That's another place, guys. I never even promote that. I don't promote any of this stuff. I just put it out there, and if people pick up on it, then they do, and that's kind of what we've been doing with this podcast. And like I said, I'll get into that a little bit more here in a little bit, but the text line is always a great way to get in on the conversation, whatever we're doing, and I don't usually miss that. So that's 313-307-5340, and that's anytime, whether we're on the air or not, or whether it's this show or another show, that'll always be available to you. And anything you want to get into, hey man, we're here for you. That's what we do here at Studio 57 Radio, and especially at BCU and DSR2. Thank you, Mike. DSR2 is a fun sports show. I've been doing it a real long time. It's one of our original flagship shows, so I'll get into the history of the station a little bit towards the end of the show, because I think when we come back in a couple of weeks, I'm going to give you guys a tour of the studio and kind of explain like everything we do and have kind of done in the past, and what we're going to be doing going forward as a part of what's going to happen with this show as well. So, but right now it's about belts, and more flipping belts. So, I don't know if you guys saw it, but they had the Being the Elite, the Being the Elite championship belt, gimmick belt came up. Oh, there she is. There is it. That's Midgie. That's our studio cat. She is gaining popularity with the hashtag Only Pet the Head, because she is a murder cat. Did you hear her? She's disagreeing with that, but she's not really a murder cat. But she loves to flaunt the belly like a puppy would, and usually when you see it, you pet the belly. Do not pet the belly. She will maul your hand. She will attack your hand, and you'll get bunches of little holes. You only pet the head. So, but that's Midgie. She's a studio cat we adopted when Mom passed away, and we had to put Pops in a place. So we got their cat, and she's cool. But she just kind of likes it down here in the studio, and this is kind of where she is. So she'll pop up in the show every once in a while. So there you go. I think that killed 2 minutes of airtime just having the cat. So I'm just gonna do a podcast of, random things the cat does. I don't fucking know. So the Being the Elite Championship. So I'm not big. I don't watch a lot of stuff. I know a lot of you guys do. I don't watch a lot of the stuff on YouTube anymore. I'm not really on there like that. I know our stuff is archived on our YouTube channel, and I believe it's live. Well, I know it's live on our YouTube because it's one of the ones I click here, and it's live on Twitch and all that stuff. But I really don't use the YouTube like that. Occasionally, I like to get a YouTube degree. they being the elite's got and now if there wasn't an oversaturation of wrestling already and I really needed my druther, I really needed to get my fix, I would probably be on there more, because you got MLW, NWA, and all these other companies where the YouTube's probably your best bet to catch them. But like, there's so much wrestling I can't keep up right now, and I'm so busy with other stuff that I can't, it's just not doable. So I didn't see it, but of course the snapshot of the belt and the screenshot of the belt from the video has been circulating, making its rounds. And guys, I don't want to beat this dead horse, because I kind of do a lot, and I'm kind of an asshole when it comes to this stuff, because I'm not the end all be all belts by any stretch of the fucking imagination, not even close. I'm the lowest rung on the totem pole, so I'm just enjoying the hobby and my creative side, and being able to, you know, provide something for people that can't afford to spend loot on bigger, crazier projects and whatever. So I just like to provide it. Like we talked about it, you know, J-Dubs is like a non-profit belt company. I don't make any money. I've never taken a dime for myself, and it's not what I think of when I think about the hobby, and what I think it should kind of be. So I become the, you know, that's my vision, right? So like, my vision can't be the only vision for the hobby. In fact, my vision for a lot of stuff is completely different from everybody else's. It's quite the opposite. I realize that what I say and do aren't what would be popular. So I get it, but I feel like there's been so many horrible belt designs coming out over the last couple of years, and being the elite Acorn belt is just another one of those belts. Like, they did like a shield, like a triangular shield shape, and they put the being the elite like logo banner up at the top in a square rectangular shape kind of thing, and it looks almost like an acorn. And then they did the same triangular shield shapes without that on top, just the shield triangular for the side plates. And it's too, I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. Tried. It's like the 24/7 belt. It's like, it just has a lot of effort in it. What's the new IC belt? Don't like it. Now the new US belt, I've been on record saying I didn't really like it, but I've seen it up close now, and it is a pretty cool belt. Like, if I made it, I'd be amazed by it because of the 3-dimensional look it's got and all that. So like, I ain't even gonna go there. I couldn't make anything that nice with what I got. But that you know, so that one's growing on me. But for the most part, and I'm not really a huge fan, because I think there's other things they could have done that would have been better using those same kind of techniques. So and so I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is growing on me a little bit. But like, I don't know. All the AEW belts besides heavyweight championship, all them belts suck. I'm sorry, and I know it's just me. Like, I know other cats, they dig like a lot of these designs, but I'm just trying to think of all the newer belts, championship belts. Yo, what up, Juan? How you living, my brother? Nice to have you in the mix. What the heck is going on here? Can't see all the comments. There's something in my way. Ding. Okay, I don't know. I was having a technical difficulty there with the chat. That's all right. I think I got you now. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, that's great radio, doesn't it? When I'm just look at this app. Okay, so when I look back, and I just, like, in recent memory, you know, from the new championships to the current designs, you could even go back quite a ways. And there, unless you get into the indies and some of these other promotions, I'm just not a fan. Like, everybody, and then conversely, right, when the new Ring of Honor came out, everybody's like, oh God, that's hideous, and I kind of like it. Is it my favorite belt in the world? No, but you know, if you've got a good version of that belt, it's a nice belt. I like that belt. I like it over a lot of belts. I like it over anything WWE puts out. But no, it's not my favorite belt. The one before it, though, wasn't my favorite either. And so did I think of it as an improvement? Probably more of a lateral move than an improvement. Maybe a little bit, just because I thought the detail was kind of, but that's my creative side. Like, I wouldn't want to do all that detail that's in those plates. Yikes. Like, painting it and dealing with all that and getting it looking crispy. Yikes. Yeah, the women's title for AEW, I'm not a fan of that either. Once again, it looks like a peanut or something. It's got kind of a pointed, rounded shape. So, I know the world title, they use the North American Championship and the IWGP Heavyweight as like their like inspiration, and the IWGP Heavyweight's my favorite, and you can see them. I got them both side by side in the case, and you can see the influence there. Now I don't have the North American Championship that's got that plate set up, like that, but you know which one I'm talking about. It's a monster. I'm not a huge fan of that belt, but I can see where the influence was, obviously, and so I dig. There are some really good champions out there, but recently that AEW world title is like really the only one that I dig. That TNT title, even with the supposed finished version, I think it was just upgraded from the Backlash, but I'm not going to kill Ron like that. If that's what he says it is what it is. But I still don't like it. And it's not like Ron doesn't put out and Red Leather doesn't put out good designs. It's just I don't like it. That's what they were asked to make. So a belt company, if what they fucking wanted, I'd make the same goddamn thing. I just think it's fucking ugly. And even the newer version, though, it adds some dimension to it. It still sucks. And so, to me, it isn't doing it. The AEW tag belts, you know, the side plates are basically the center plates, are basically the side plates. It's just plain to me and boring. Not a huge fan. Like I said, I don't want to kill these guys. They're making what their customer wants. And I obviously don't have big name clients, though I've done stuff for plenty of companies. They've all been indies, not necessarily anything else. Uh-oh, are we locked up? I think we're locked up. Something happened here. Yee-hee. We froze. I don't know if it's just that camera or what. The camera got unplugged. That's what happened. The cat got in the thing. So now you got me from this angle. The cat must have unplugged us. See, she's already sabotaging the show. I'm going to take a quick break here shortly anyway. But so I can't think of any real ones that I just like Google over. And so whatever you guys think that's out there that I haven't seen, like I know there's some anything in Japan or like that. I don't catch all of those, and there's some really cool belts over there. But what's new and like more that's new that you really dig? Like I said, current belts that are out there right now, the AEW champ, IWGP belts are all nice. The Never belts are they're decent. I'm not kidding, but I mean, I'm just thinking of something that came out within the last couple of years. Design that came out in the last couple of years. Like, we'll just go back to the 24/7 title. Let's just go back that far. That was the first one where everybody had like an audible groan when Foley came out with that. Live at the show, everybody was like, ugh. So since then, and they've redone the IC, they redid the US. You've had all the AEW belts, basically. I don't know. So, being the elite, once again, falls on that Acorn. Yeah, DDT. I need a little more current one. Juan sent me some of those older ones. Or was that more current? Yeah, cool designs for sure. Like I said, I think a lot of the overseas ones are very cool as far as that goes. So, yeah, that's my other camera's frozen. See that? Look at it, I'm frozen in space. So, she must have unplugged me at the base down there. Damn, beast animal. She's out to get us. No, anyway. So I'm not sure what you guys think, but there you go. So we'll take that in the text line if you want to shoot it, 313-307-5340. Also, we've been doing the exposés, guys, on a lot of these. They have a universal title now, Juan. Very interesting. DDT. Okay, I'll check into that. I'm sure you'll send it to me, right? So the hobby is what the hobby does, and the hobby's kind of, some things aren't really ever going to go away in the hobby, and so we've been doing these like exposés and getting after some of these questionable belt makers and things like that in the hobby. And that's not really going to change for this podcast. That was the intent of this podcast. But also the intent of the podcast was like to just do it kind of every other week or when things came up. And it was more of something to keep us busy with had to keep us busy during quarantine and lockdown and all that. So it was more about that kind of stuff. There's only so much I can do with doing these exposés and putting cats out like that and all that. So this either evolves into something else or we just kind of squash it. Like, I never really thought about it beyond just kind of goofing. It's not something we advertise through our normal podcast. DSR2 is basically our thing right now. And I'll get into the history of us a little bit more as we get down towards the end of the show here. But so I will continue to do the exposés. We'll continue to look into that stuff. We did a review, I had at least a couple of weeks ago, of Tokir Nasser sent us a big gold championship, 2mm brass. Wasn't a true 2mm. Etching was bad. The cutout was bad. The leather was soft, but the lacing was not lacing. It was braided leather. It was a mess. So we had it on here, and it was kind of funny. Out of all the belts that we've brought in here, we've looked at like 3 or 4 questionable, if not, verified scammers or questionable sellers and makers, and that was by far the silliest thing that we had gotten for product-wise. It was goofy, and we've gotten quite a few belts. So anyway, I told him basically that, like, dude, like, the whole idea was he wanted to sell me product, and I had seen him out on the list, and I seen him get kicked out of groups, and people talking about it. So I'm like, okay, but you want me to buy your product? You're showing me pictures that I know aren't yours because I know who owns some of them. Dude, he was sending me pictures from, like, Undisputed. Like, that's ignorant. Like, you're not laser etching your belts. I know who Undisputed is. I know who those are. That's part of their promotional material. It's like, fucking stop. So all the red flags come up. So I said, sure, I got a belt maker. I don't need you, to be honest. So I appreciate it, but no thanks. And he's like, oh, come on, give me a chance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I get a good deal on a good product. So unless you're going to give me a sample so I can see what you got and you can give me a better price, or a better product for the same price, or, you know what I'm saying, or the same product for a better price, whatever, then maybe I'll work with you. I will work with you. If you're going to send me something out, I'll definitely send you business. So he basically agrees. I'm like, I'll pay for shipping. Just send me something so I can see your product. If it's good, I'll buy some belts off of you. And whether I, set up an auction, an online auction for like a charity, or if I do something like that with them, it wouldn't really matter. I would just do something. I would just buy something because, he held up his end of the deal. I'll hold up mine, kind of thing. And I don't mind as we start building sponsorships through the podcast. Now, I don't have a bunch of stuff going on for this show because that's not what we're doing, but DSR2 does well, and so we can get away with that. And so I was going to do that, and he sent me that belt, and it was terrible. And I'm like, honestly, it's not good. Like, we were trying not to laugh and be jerks, but it really wasn't good. Yeah, it was a 1.5 millimeter one. It was, yeah. Did you watch the show? It was ridiculous. I put the micrometer on it, and it is what it is. But anyway, and it was a silly ass belt. You guys can go back in the archive over there on the YouTube channel if you want and see the silliest fucking thing you've ever seen. And it's not. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to embarrass the guy or whatever. It just was not a good product. And what he was going to charge me, no way. And then, like, there was so much shady stuff. You guys saw it. What I do need to do is show you the fucking video he sent me. It was fucking hilarious. Tried to tell me that the belt was shipped already, send the money for shipping. And he sent me the info for DHL. I go on DHL, and the shipping info has been sent to them, but they have not picked up a product. They have not received a product, nothing. It's scheduled for pickup from wherever he's at or whatever it said. And so, but they haven't done anything yet. But he had sent me a video of supposedly DHL in Pakistan. And if that's true, truly DHL in Pakistan, it wasn't for my belt, that was for sure. It was something that he recorded prior. But that's, dude, I'm surprised we get anything. I'm surprised anything makes it to its place of origin, if that's the way that place operates. It was the craziest. It looked like the Wish factory that you see in like China online. It looked like craziness, like that, not that volume, but super crazy like that. And so all the red flags are there because he didn't send anything out. So, like, of course, guys know a little bit, especially if you guys know me on a personal tip, that I had some family tragedies to deal with. And so it was all happening in real time right then when I was dealing with him. And it's like, dude, I'm sorry. As much as I want to send you money and deal with you and buy belts and go through all this nonsense and get all this stuff for the podcast, dude, I just have bigger fish to fry. I can't. So he ended up sending the belt, and we ended up getting it, which was surprising. So I did pay him, actually, technically after it landed, but I paid him, and I even threw him a $10 tip on top of it just for actually following through, sending it out before I even had a chance to send in the shipping. And so even though he had all those red flags, he did actually send it. So, like I said, I threw him an extra $10, and so which isn't a lot, but whatever. So the belt was a debacle. I told him I can't do it. He says, I'll get you another belt, better quality. And I'm like, okay. I mean, if you want to, guy, but like, he's like, give me a chance, give me another chance. Like, I'm not spending money on something when I already have a guy that will put out a better product. Okay. And that's basically, my guy is, that I like to use. It's for my collection or some friends' collections that I can't make. I don't have the stuff here to make, or I don't have the time because of my customer base has got me busy right now, and I just don't have time to do it. So it's one of the two. And so, or you want something higher end, and so that would be the other. So I just, that's what I use them for. That's how, and I send a fair amount of business that way, and it'll be more as things move forward here. But if I'm going to use you for that, I need a good product. I need to know it's better. I already got a guy. What you're giving me is not getting it done. It's cool. You don't need to give me another belt. Give me another chance. Give me another chance. I don't need it. And then he gets back with me a couple days later. Oh, please give me another. Okay, I'll give you another chance. Same deal though, dude. Same deal. I'll pay you for shipping once you ship it. Once I got verification that DHL has sent it and has got it in their hands, I'll pay you for shipping. And if it's good, then I'll place an order with you basically immediately. But I'm even hesitant to do that after the first one I got. Why do I want to even risk it? You had a chance to win me over. You knew what you were doing, and you sent me that fucking thing. So, yikes. So I didn't really want to do it, but I did finally cave to give him a second chance. So long story, all dragged out. He got with me the other day and wanted me to basically pay twice or what, wanted me to pay for cost and this and that. And of course, cost is more than, I know what the cost for them to make it over there. I know what I can get it for my other guy. And I'm like, well, if that's cost, I can still get it cheaper from my guy. So like, I don't really see the point, And I said, I told you, what the deal was. And he made the belt already. He sent me pictures of it. And by the way, I should show those pictures. It ain't fucking right, because I had to make the WCW United States Championship, the 5-plater with the eagle and the US on the front, with the big WCW in the top block, and it says United States Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And he did, in that one banner it says heavyweight wrestling. He did not put wrestling in there. He centered heavyweight, and they were all crooked as fuck. It looked like, your kid got a hold of the letter magnets and put them on the fridge, okay, and just happened to spell heavyweight. And it's like, dude. And he's like trying to get me to pay for it. I'm like, dude, I don't even want that. I don't even want to pay shipping for that. Like, I don't want it. Like, just keep it. Like, I don't know what to say. Find somebody else that'll buy. So to wrap that whole Tokir Nasser thing up, just don't even. It's not that he won't deliver. It's that you'll be disappointed in every way, shape, or form. So, and we're going to continue to do that stuff here at the podcast. But, that's why we kind of figured this thing would only be like once a month. I'll do every other week at first, because we had the downtime for the virus and everything, the lockdown. And then it just became a weekly thing because there's so much going on. So we're going to get back to our every other week thing, and we'll kind of go from there. And, a lot more information on how the show is going to roll forward, but definitely every other week. That way it gives me more time to handle other stuff, and then we can get some more things together that's more fun for the hobby. Like I said, diving into some of these exposés and going after makers and dealing with other shit. It's just going to be, it's a lot, and it's going to run out. So it's like a lot to do just to get a little bit out, and then I'm going to run out of those things to do. It's the same thing with the groups, right? So I was very critical on this show about the Facebook groups, belt groups. For weeks we talked about it, whether it be admins knowing about scammers and different things going on in the group, and not that they're allowing it or promoting it so much as that they're not effectively doing anything about it, and in some cases are part of the problem. Are actually the ones that are the problem, whether it be the crooked raffles or scammers or middlemen or whatever the case may be. And I've always been critical of middlemen too, because I just don't understand why you would pay somebody an inflated, super inflated price for something that you can get direct yourself. I don't get it. So, and then from a middleman standpoint, you're even, okay, so you're a middleman, you're cutting out some kind of headache. I'm not sure what it is, but cutting out some kind of headache, and that's why you're getting paid and making your money off it. I'll just give you that. I don't know what headache you'd be saving, but let's just say you are. You're doing it, illegal bootleg merchandise. It's you're committing felonies every time you make a transaction. So, like, to me, I've always been hypercritical of a lot of that stuff, and not that I'm against bootlegs. You guys know my take on bootlegs. If there is not an available replica out there, then you get the fucker made, okay? Period. If the available replica out there is, like, out of the realm of possibility from a financial standpoint, and it's really hard to come by and it's really hard to get, then I understand that too. And I don't shun anybody for having bootlegs. But I just think, in the way this thing goes, and we'll get into it too, because Matthew is struck again, and that's the biggest part of this hobby, to be quite honest, the biggest story in the hobby. And I probably should have led with that, but we'll get into that too here as we're moving forward. And this we only got a few minutes left, really, to be on 5, so we'll keep get things moving. But so anyway, I was very critical of these groups. So what happens in these groups, besides the obvious that we talked about, is the cyberbullying, right? So we get that in all forms when it comes across the internet, but in the wrestling, the belt hobby, it seems to be easy pickings for a lot of cats. So, like I told you my story, and for weeks I didn't really ever call out groups specifically or middlemen specifically, and then everybody's like, oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Who is it? Da 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 da. I kind of put some shit out there because, I got sick of fucking seeing it over and over and over again. So, in cyberbullying content, that it has been out for a while, and so and that's kind of what started this whole thing, right? So I was in said group, and I'm not going to give them any more run because they don't deserve it. But you know what group I was critical of the most, and I was in that group, and a guy had bought a bootleg version of the new United States Championship, and of course, and the bootleg, it was just a flat 2mm plate pancake. It wasn't that three-dimensional. It wasn't real nice, but the guy got a great deal on it. He was super happy. He was showing it off, and he got eviscerated. I think I talked about this. This is what led. I know I talked about it because this is what led to all this stuff. He got eviscerated. People just making fun of him and went on him and just all over his stuff, and just general dicks, and just kind of push this guy around. And this guy never has anything to say to anybody about anything. And then the one time, and he can't afford what a lot of people can afford. And he got what he could afford, and people are killing him for it. And that's what it pisses me off. That's kind of why J-Dubs is here, because people can't afford stuff, and I try to provide something that they can afford. And so people getting railed for doing that, it's just a douchebag move. And so people were doing that, and then people were commenting like, why isn't the ad doing anything about it? And so I was one of those people that said, why isn't the admin doing anything about it? And then we brought it up here, and then over time I brought up the group and said, that's what it is, and you guys know the admin there, and blah 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 blah. And then we got into the middle conversation, and it was the same kind of thing. It's like, how these guys go, and I made it, of course, my joke about sharing profiles with your wife pissed off a couple people or one individual, and I thought it was fucking hilarious, because the last thing you want to do is try to get gangster on this motherfucker. I mean, I am from Detroit. I did spend 15 years on the rap scene in the hood with gangsters. I did a lot of shit I ain't fucking proud of, but I simply ain't above to going back to that shit. So don't get it fucking twisted, homie. If you come at me fucking crazy because I capped on the fact that you're sharing your fucking profile with your old lady, grow a set, dude. Fucking come to Detroit and we'll handle it. But don't act like you're a fucking internet tough guy, keyboard warrior. The tough talking Tony is what we used to call them cats. Because we used to have a guy that'd come in, on the phone, he'd be a tough talking Tony. You come into the shop, he'd be a little fucking pussy cat. So I already know what it is. I already know how it goes, but that's how bullying works, right? So guys, when you're getting bullied out here and you're doing your thing, don't worry about that shit. Don't acknowledge their fucking existence, because they're not fucking worth your fucking time and effort. If it gets annoying and over the top, you know the drill. You can boot them or whatever off your social media, and you don't have to deal with that stuff. The hobby is supposed to be fun. When you go into these groups, you're supposed to have a good time. Just leave that bitch, man. Don't worry about that shit. So admin for same group gets with homeboy who likes to share profiles, and they decided they wanted, on a Saturday night, they had nothing better to do than fucking get in my DMs and start hollering at me like fucking ass and shit, and making fun of dumb shit. Yeah, dude, I got a fucked up grill. You know why? I've got a fucking genetic issue, and I've been dealing with it my whole life. I passed it down to my daughter. Luckily, it's not as bad for her. But yeah, I spend tons and tons of money just to keep teeth in my face, dude. It's a fucking wonderful living. It's great that you could fucking low bridge and get low hanging fruit and make fun of a guy that's got an issue that he has no control over, and cap on it. And that's cool, man. Cap on my grill. I love it. It's funny. Your jokes sucked. I've got way better ones. If you ever want to get together and share notes, we can do that. But then to come at me when, quite frankly, you have your own issues medically, what am I gonna do? Cap on you? Like, am I gonna go Tupac and fuck with your sickle cell and all that other shit on you? I mean, I could get all hit them up on your ass, but it's not worth it. You're not worth it to me. I wouldn't. It's not. The whole point of you cats even getting brought up was the whole overall debacle that is what's going on in the hobby, and so it was an example. And if I got you ruffled and whatever, dude, what the fuck ever, dude. I don't fucking care. Once again, come to Detroit, go to the northeast side, the 48205, and just ask anybody for Scrappy. Ask. They'll send you. They'll lead you to me. I'm not fucking hard to find, dude. That's legit. That's real talk. So like you could do it. So I ain't hard to find. It's just one of them things. But that's kind of the attitude you have to have when you're dealing with these cyber bullies, because they're gonna come at you over some fucking horse shit, and it's like come on, man. It's like, Mike, it's fun at Canada, Mike. I'm afraid of Detroit. Well, Detroit is a wild place, I'm gonna tell you what. And I've been to some crazy ass places when I toured with music and shit like that, and been in some wild situations. And other than like maybe Dade County and maybe like some places in LA and New York, dude, you're not fucking with Detroit as far as just a crazy wild fucking, where in the, I mean, you got to go to third world countries. Like you got to go to like Tijuana and shit. Like it's that kind of crazy level. Like I said, Dade County, I'll put them up against Detroit anytime, and a couple other rough and tumble places in this country. But Detroit is a gnarly place, man. It'll eat you up, dude. It'll eat you up if you ain't ready for it. I love my city. So I thrived in Detroit. I live in the suburbs right on the border now of Detroit, just outside. I'm in the biggest suburban city bordering Detroit there now, but Detroit it's been my home for so fucking long, and that I'm cool with the craziness. But that's why, if you guys know me on a personal tip, you see me getting away from the city a lot, because you try to get away from the craziness. It's the same thing with this hobby and this all the stuff that was supposed to be cool about the city. All the I lived like a rock star for a long time. Got to do a lot of cool, wild stuff and run, and that's supposed to be fucking fun. And then when that fun kind of goes away, then what are you doing here? And that's kind of what happens. You do all that stuff for so long, and it burns you out. And so like now, fun to me is like, lesser things, smaller stuff. It's not even stuff and things anymore. Like it used to always be about stuff and things, dude. I had my 2500 extended cab Silverado. I lived in a 3,000 square foot house with a fucking jacuzzi and fucking an underground basement. I had a $30,000 fucking studio place. I fucking was touring. I had my big ass truck. I had my fucking Camaro, my throwback, kit car, the old fucking Trans Am, and we were in the car club and we were doing our thing, and I mean, like I had all that. I did all that, wearing bling every fucking wear. I've got fucking, I got like an $800 suit upstairs and left, designer clothes, all that. Did all that stuff, had all that shit. It's fucking cool, man. But it's not everything. When things you do it, and there's all the craziness that goes along with it, and all the fun, it's not always fun. Sometimes the little smaller things are fun. I sold the big ass house because I got sick of fucking cleaning it and paying the utilities. Got a smaller, more modest brick home in a little bit nicer neighborhood, but a much smaller place. So upgrade here, downgrade there a little bit, but same thing. Used to want to roll with the new truck and make the payment and do all that. Nah, paid off the truck is cash. I don't make payments on that shit no more. Why? Because now I can do other stuff. I got college up north, and we can do other things. Put the kids through college and all that stuff. So like those things become important, not being a rock star and not doing crazy shit. So once you realize what's important and what's fun and what means the most to you, lock that in with dealing with a hobby. Don't deal with all this other outside bullshit. Just let them go. Let them run their mouths. Let them say what they got to say. Let them do what they got to do. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I can get into the screenshots and I can show you all the stuff. I've done it up to this point. I don't have enough time today to deal with it. Obviously, we got unplugged by the damn cat, so whatever. Like I said, another debacle of a podcast. It's not even a real podcast. We're just fun here. So just do that. Make sure you have fun and enjoy the hobby for what it is. If the group, I don't even go really in the groups anymore. There's too many scammers, too many bullshitters, too many bullies and assholes. It's ironic that, bullied by the guy who admins a group that I stood up because people were bullying and no one was doing anything about it. So there's some irony in that. So that's just what this is, some things will never change. So don't let that shit get to you. Don't let that be what leaves you disgusted with the hobby. How many people have you seen? I'm out. I'm selling my shit. I'm out. This hobby sucks. And it's because of shit like that. And other reasons, but I mean, I would have to say, dealing with all the nonsense and is a big part of that. So, but I don't need it. I don't need to be groups. I don't need to do the thing. My collection's good. I can get stuff made. I got to hook up. Oh, and Mike, I'm glad you brought up the Matthew, because that's what we're going to get into now, because the game is changing, my friends, and it is changing quick. And I told you this when we did the very first podcast 3 fucking months ago, or whatever the hell it was, that Matthew is on it, and he's on it again. We were talked about Ron earlier with Red Leather. He did the AEW stuff, the TNT title, you know. Does great work over there, and they don't bootleg. They do legitimate stuff. They get legitimate things from legitimate companies, and they do legit shit. And though I don't like their latest designs and all that stuff, and I think I'm suspect, I'm critical. It's because I'm doing a podcast here, guys. I goof on Ron and talk about, well, I think they just didn't get it done, and I just think they dropped the ball on it. And that may not be true. That's just my opinion from an outside thing, and we'll take Ron's word at what he said. But I'm just going to give my 2 cents worth, whether it's fucking whatever or whatever. That's what that it's just my opinion. But when we have facts, we talk about facts. And like that, I can go screenshot method with all these cats, because I have it all. I've done it with, and I showed you the emails, and we did it all with the belt expose guys, so I could do it with everybody else too. But that's not going to be what's fun for me with the hobby. I don't need that. And so if we're going to continue to do the podcast, that's just going to be something that makes the fun out of the hobby for me. So we're going to kind of change up a little bit how we do all this stuff. We're going to continue to help protect you guys as wonderful people in the hobby, because there's a good portion of you that are. It's not just these fucktards, and we'll get into the fuck Matthew thing in a minute, and the Red Leather thing that I just started, because I'm all over the place, ADD radio. But and Matthew got Red Leather. That's what I was getting to. But yeah, so just you could take the high road and stay away from all the craziness in this hobby. I don't need it. I can go do whatever. I can make my leather and do my belts, do my thing, and I got a guy to my thing and do whatever. I don't have to get caught up in all this stuff. I sure don't want to get caught up in what Red Leather got caught up in. And once again, as much as I cap and goof on the designs and whatever, I really respect what those guys do over there. And they got caught up with this Matthew thing. If you guys don't know the whole hashtag fuck Matthew phenomenon, Matthew Midvanovich or Midjarajewicz or whatever the hell his goddamn name is. I just saw it again for the first time in a while, his last name. And from WWE is out there seeing and assisting a whole lot of motherfuckers. And from what I understand, Red Leather and some of these other guys that are legit makers here got shut down, got their pages shut down, their business pages shut down, and things like that. And I've been getting some heat from and I'm telling you, all this is going to change. The bootleg scenario is eventually going to be next. If you haven't seen in all the groups, everybody's saying, hey, we don't sell belts in here no more. We don't sell belts in here no more. They don't even want you like doing aftermarket sales. Now, I haven't seen any groups get real shut down that I know of, but I'm not in nearly as many groups as I used to be, because there are so many garbage groups out there. There's only like 3 groups that are good, 4 groups that are good. All the other ones are shite. Or just repetitive. I shouldn't say they're all shite, but because some are just repetitive. They're like essentially spawns of other fucking things doing the same shit with the same people, and it's so then you can't even tell which fucking group's which. So I don't want to say they're all shite, but a lot of them, and there's only a handful I think that are really good. And so I haven't seen those guys get shut down, but that it's happening. It's going to be a thing where like the same thing, dude. I made a belt for a friend. I didn't even charge him for it. Did I charge? I think he bought the plates material, but I didn't charge him for the work. And I'm trying to think if I even picked up the tab on something else. But anyway, and I made him a belt for his dart league, and he wanted it to be the IC belt, the throwback IC belt from WWE with the WWF logo, that one, like the Macho Man version, kind of like that. And And so, but he wanted it to see International Dart League or whatever on it instead. So I made it identical to the Brasso throwback macho with but I changed the banners for the Dart League. And now if I were to put that on my site, or if I were to advertise that I actually sold it, which I didn't, but if I did, I'd be fucking done. Like, that's like, they would have dragged me out and took me down. And that's what's been going on with Matthew. And the UFC is going to be doing the same kind of thing too, or has been. And I don't expect it to get any easier for anybody in any of those realms. So I've already talked to, because of all these exposés and all different stuff we dealt with different makers, we've made friends, we've made enemies, and we're going to continue to do that. But some of our friends have been telling us that their eBay accounts have also gotten to up where if they have stuff up, they're not taking down listings that have been grandfathered in. But like some listings, like you're not putting up new listings for certain things. I even had one guy say that AEW contacted them and cease and desisted on them too, for putting out a championship. Now, if it was the TNT championship, you might have multiple entities involved in that one, and that might be why they got. But I still see them on there. But I do know that cats have been approached, and so. That's going to affect the secondary market as well, too, I would imagine, because I guess I would imagine that they'll be kind of targeted, too, because I don't know how they're picking and choosing what groups and what pages they're shutting down unless you're an obvious bootlegger. But there are still obvious bootleggers out there, and how that they're not haven't been addressed yet, while others have. When you're talking about how many people are in these groups, it doesn't really jive or make sense. So I don't know if they really have a lockdown on what they're doing yet, but they're getting closer and closer to where they're going to just start, shutting all this stuff down, and anything that's WWE that's available online and trademarked and available for sale, you're not going to be able to get. At a bootleg standpoint, you're not going to be able to find online, and it may even affect the secondary market, because even if you were selling something that you owned, if it was, and you were just selling it because you owned it and you don't want it anymore, if it's a bootleg, you might have an issue. If it's not official, you might have a fucking problem. And so it's going to be touch and go as things go forward, so it's going to affect the secondary market too. So we'll be watching to see how that goes, and all that. Hey, Mike, SoCal Mike in the building. What's happening, man? Finishing up last of your young man's belt, and we're going to get you shipped out this weekend. So just do some touch-ups and getting the backing on, and getting it ready to roll. So apologize to hold up, but your package will be gone midweek or weekend. So I'll get with you on that. So I just noticed you came in, and I did that in the opening update section that I usually do. All right. Now, what else was I supposed to get into today? Talked about the whole Matthew. Oh, yeah. So the past going forward looks like just every other week, and then we're going to roll into 2021, and we're going to probably shut down. What I'm going to do is I'm not going anywhere. We're going to start in other podcasters to do their stuff here at the studio. I'm going to show off the studio here on one of our shows. I'll take the camera around. Maybe I'll just do it I'll just do a live one day out of the blue and walk you through the studios and stuff. But we're going to start bringing in other podcasters to do their thing here at our studio. And we're going to kind of help do like we used to do back day, which is kind of a grassroots. We kind of everybody, and everybody gets over that way instead of kind of just doing our own thing and letting everybody for themselves. Others strengthen numbers, and so we may start doing some of that. So we're looking into that. We're thinking about that, and I'm going to be working towards that. What I'm going to do also, DSR2 won't be going anywhere. The Notorious POD will be making its return. So it's like a true crime podcast. That'll be coming back. And we'll be doing stuff that, produced numbers and did things before, get our sponsors back, and get some new ones, get some old ones back, get some new ones, and keep the ones we got happy. So let's do it like that. So I got, And the crazy crackdowns, Mike. It's nuts. It's nuts. We just, like I said, it's a touch and go thing, and it'll be something we'll talk about as we go to an every other week format, which was what the original format was supposed to be. So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back probably, like I said, we'll do every other week up and through the holidays. 2021, we'll come back as every once in a while. I will do an expose on a maker, and I will do the whole thing. I will do front to back to finish. We'll film it, we'll edit it, we'll put it out. It'll be a fucking thing. We'll only do it when we have time. It'll be random. You won't really know. We'll give you a heads up on the page, so you'll always want to follow. And then I'll always be I'm going to start getting back, because we're getting caught up and we're getting things rolling again. I'm going to get back into doing live leather and things like that on the J-Dubs page. So, and then maybe that will lead back to getting to some of our cool virtual parties and stuff like that again. So I just get this podcast was really just for our lockdown and just to kind of get people going in the hobby in the right direction, kind of have a place to talk about it. And, and we're going to continue to do that for the rest of the year. But unless, like, all of a sudden this thing gets real popular and people start asking for more, and it becomes something that's a viable option that I'm willing to promote and put out there and continue to work for, then maybe that saves it. But I just don't know how, with the content and the quirkiness of what the show's about, that we can get that kind of a following. But if we can get it organically, I'll do it. So what I do here and what I've been doing for a long time with these podcasts, I started probably 15 years ago, maybe longer. And back in those days, to do a podcast was a little different. So you'd have some audio recording equipment would record you would upload it to a database, and the database had a little memory for your channel, so to speak, your channel. And you had to tell all your friends to download this app, this player that they could download into their computer, and then they would have to go into a little search bar and search out your channel, and then they could pull up, and then you could put a live rotation in, so you'd have where you wouldn't necessarily broadcast live, but you could put a bunch of files there and have them rotate through, like more of a playlist. And so you could really set up, if you were smart, you could set up your days where everything fell in line, and you would spend, X amount of days getting everything ready for each day, and then you'd only broadcast for so many days, and then people could go back and it would always be there, and they could play it off the playlist, or they could just listen to it quote unquote live as it played through on its own in real time. So that's how I would do it, and then once I got through it, then it would become available for you to watch. So that was the closest thing that you could get to podcasting at that point in time, and maybe it's been 20 years ago now. And so that's how we did it. And we just kind of it started with all the Kwame Kilpatrick shit here in Detroit. Long before it became a big expose for our local media, me and my buddy were like totally all over it, because I was in entertainment and he always kind of showed up. Like, we'd be doing shit with Trick and Proof and D12 and Marshall would be in the building and all that shit, and fucking like Kwame would like show up and shit. So like, well, it was always kind of a thing, and then it turned into technology got a little bit better and there was better options for you. And then we came across Ustream, where we could add a webcam in the studio and we could actually broadcast live. And then we could take that and put it on a website, any website we wanted. So I got a website, very basic website. We put the player on our website. We shared it with our friends. I think this was like at the tail end of MySpace. And so we'd share it, and it was called Living in the D, and it was me and Smokey Woodmont, and we talk about how crazy Kwame Kilpatrick is. Now, at this point, he's about to go to prison, and we were telling all the old stories and all the shit, and it would be about all the kind of crazy stuff that was going on in Detroit, and we'd have local musicians on, and we just kind of have, that would be like, that was the vibe. And then it turned into stuff that would be more like silly, and we started clowning around. And that show went on, and it evolved, and really, it was something that we did just as we'll just put it out there, we'll let our friends know, and we'll see how it goes. And it got a grassroots following, it got going. So my whole take on doing a podcast is, yes, I could do a show, I could promote the shit out of it, I could put it all over the place, and I could make it get a bunch of hits and a bunch of fucking clicks and do whatever. And all that is a product of me working my ass off behind the computer. It's not a product of the show actually gaining a following or doing well or being good. It has nothing to do with any of that. Now, having a good show and a following and all that is when you do it organically. When you put it out there, just kind of free, just kind of willy-nilly. And if people catch on to it, they catch on to it. And so, and then if it picks up, it picks up. And then it becomes something. And then then you can go and promote it and get behind it and get all those cheap pops and all those cheap clicks and get those numbers up and do all that crazy stuff. Once you know you have a core following that's going to go wherever you go, so that you can evolve and change with the times. And that's what we've always done. It's kind of evolved and changed with time. We've done live concert venues for all, we've done live shows all over all these venues in Detroit. We've done CD release parties, and we've had interviews with cats. We've had Ja and Doc from Houdini and Dougie Fresh and Ron Rice. He used to play here for the Lions back in them days, and you'd have him on. And we did like Lady T's and Rita Mosley, who's a big R&B star, love her to death. We did like their CD release parties and shit live. We did the Mount Clemens Hip Hop Awards and stuff like that here on broadcast. We did all kinds of wild stuff over the years and had fun. But it was always organic, and we always had a good following because of the content and what we did. It wasn't me just pushing shit out there. It's super easy to get a bot that does all that work for you. It's super easy to get a street team together where you have a bunch of cats that are all doing the same thing and using the same techniques and pushing the same stuff out there. But it doesn't make a following real. It doesn't give you a core group, and it doesn't make what you're doing good or right or as popular as you think. It's the same thing with the whole podcast thing was raping people and raking them over the coals, these sponsorships, because they can fudge numbers and fuck shit around. It isn't until recently that it's become harder for them to do it, and that everybody's kind of hip to that game, and that there's other ways you have to prove it than just your numbers, quote unquote, your numbers. There's got to be things going like that. So, you guys got the first pitch coming up here, Mike, so I'm going to let you go. Sundays are not going to suck. It's going to be every other Sunday. And then, like I said, if we get enough people, we get an organic following, we keep things rolling, and things go the way that I like to do things when we do the show, then we'll do that. We'll make that happen. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. All the parts that we do, like the do-it-yourselfer videos, I'm going to continue to do them, post them, and have them. I'll still be around. I'm going to still get after these crooked motherfuckers and this crazy shit when I see it. I'm going to put it all together, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to show you. We're going to do it. It's just not going to be every week trying to drum up stuff and do shit. And just because I could go into every group that I'm in, and I could find some idiot doing dumb shit. I could call them all the fuck out, and we could get into all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm listening, but I'm looking at the Dragon Ball Z belt in the back. I'm about to put that on some custom leather when I get some free time. I love my DBZ, that DBZ belt. That's one of my early belts, one of my first belts I ever made. But, I've got a shit product, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm nothing, and I'm worthless. So I was bullied into believing. Not really, because that's all horseshit, and I know what's up. And I'm very in tune with who I am and where I'm at, and we talk about it very, very clearly here. I'm very comfortable with my status in the belt world. I'm just here to try to make it better. I'm not trying to take away from it. So we're going to continue to add to it, and not take away from it. And that's what I'm kind of doing with the whole webcast. So, and the show. So I'm not going to be here next week. Take a week off because I'm busy. It ain't a week off. I got belts, and more belts. I want to get everybody's stuff out, get things rolling, get caught up, so that I can come back here and promote that cool special I'm going to have for you come Halloween. And like I said, man, we're going to be here through the rest of the year, and we're going to have fun. And if it picks up steam, then we'll stay longer. Or maybe we can just tweak it and revamp it and come back and do something a little bit different, but the same. But it's all on you guys and getting with and let me know what y'all want, whether it by getting people to watch, whether it by leaving comments, whether it by hitting me up after the show, whether it by whatever it be. That's how we'll do it. That's how I'll know. So, guys, do what you do like you always do. Be good to each other, and do the right thing. Don't let these cats get under your skin, man. They don't think. Like I said, they've been firing shots at me forever. I get shots fired all the time, man, because I am afraid. Same thing in the music industry when I was doing shit. I call a motherfucker out for what they are, and they don't like it. Oh, the fuck well. It causes heat. So I'll take the heat here, at least till the end of the year, unless you guys want to keep it going. So we'll see how things roll. We'll have some fun. We'll do some more stuff. I ain't going nowhere. I love you guys, man. DR2 on Wednesday with Johnny the Moose. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. Yeah, hit bingo up. SoCal. Tell them I sent you. Peace.
You're listening to 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.